Good morning. You've joined us on Market Cafe right here in ET Now. I'm Mukesh Ambani, and clearly there have been a lot of developments on the geopolitical front, and uncertainty continues to persist. That clearly is likely to weigh heavy on Indian equity markets, and the GIFT Nifty right now is suggesting a marginal 90-point uptick for Indian equity markets. Remember, the US markets were shut on Friday, so we will not have any developments on that front. But let's take a look at what the European markets did on Friday. We had a lot of action over there as well as far as the European markets are concerned. FTSE ended nearly 0.4% lower on Friday. DAX ended nearly 0.2% lower, and CAC also saw a decline of over 0.5%. So clearly, European markets were under pressure on Friday. As far as the cues to watch for this week are concerned, remember we will have the PCI inflation data, PMI releases, consumer sentiment, durable goods orders. So these are some of the cues that you need to watch out from the US markets this week. Meanwhile, let's also shift focus to Asian markets and how they have opened this morning. And clearly, first up, Nikkei, that index is up 2%. Record highs continue for the Japanese market. Clearly, very good action is what we are seeing for the Japanese market. Shanghai is absolutely flat with some bit of negative bias in trade today. Hang Seng has declined 2% in today's trading session. And if we look at the Kospi market, that's the Korean market, that too has risen nearly 2% this Monday morning. So mixed action coming in from Asian markets this morning, but GIFT Nifty is suggesting a 90-point uptick for Indian equity markets this morning. Meanwhile, let's also take a look at what commodity markets are doing. Remember, we have seen quite a bit of cool off for the oil market on the back of that deal that was signed last week. But of course, questions are being raised on the validity of that deal itself. And that is the reason we have seen some bit of increase for the oil market over the last two trading sessions. So Brent is now trading above $80 per barrel. It is down 0.5% in trade today, and it ended nearly 1% higher on Friday as well. So clearly, on the back of the validity being questioned, we are seeing some increase yet again for the oil market. Meanwhile, let's also take a look at the precious metals basket. Then spot gold is trading at that $4,210 per ounce mark. It is up 1.3% in trade today. And silver is trading at $67 an ounce. It is up 3% in today's trading session. So precious metals are also seeing an uptick in trade today, but everything depends on the action that we get from US and Iran over the next few days. But let's put the spotlight on the biggest global stories this morning. US-Iran peace talks have now entered second day in Switzerland amid fresh tensions over the Strait of Hormuz and renewed warnings from US President Donald Trump. Tehran says it has again halted maritime traffic through Hormuz, accusing Washington of failing to uphold commitments that were linked to Lebanon. While Iranian media reports negotiators stepped back from direct talks after Trump's remarks, US officials insist discussions continued through the night. And shifting focus then, at high-stakes talks in Switzerland, US Vice President J.D. Vance said that the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz and end of Iran's nuclear weapon ambitions have already been achieved. Vance said that the focus now is on transforming relations between the US and Iran and creating lasting stability in West Asia. Listen in to what US Vice President had to say on this.
This is a historic meeting. Never before, outside of Islamabad and here, so outside the last few months, never before has the Iranian and American leadership met at such a high level. What the president has asked us to do is turn over a new leaf, to transform our relationship with the people of Iran and to extend an outstretched hand that says to the people of Iran that if your leadership is willing to give up being a driver of regional instability, if they are willing to give up nuclear weapons ambitions for the long term, then the United States is willing to fundamentally transform our relationship.
That's the word coming in from J.D. Vance. But shifting focus to other global stories then, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer is reportedly considering his political future after Labour rival Andy Burnham's decisive parliamentary election victory intensified pressure within the party. Reports suggest that ministers and lawmakers are urging Starmer to outline a transition plan, with some expecting a decision as early as today. He is increasingly viewed as the frontrunner should a Labour leadership contest be triggered, potentially paving the way for Britain's 7th Prime Minister in just the last one decade. And shifting focus to China then, China's central bank has left its key lending rates unchanged for 13th consecutive month, keeping the one-year prime rate at about 3% and five-year rate at 3.5%. The decision comes as policymakers weigh slowing domestic demand against inflation risk from higher energy prices linked to Middle East conflict. Retail sales unexpectedly contracted in the month of May, while the property sector remains under pressure with housing prices continuing to decline. On that note, we need to slip into a very short break, but several stocks remain in focus. We'll put the spotlight on those in just a bit after this very short break.
Welcome back. You're tuned into Market Cafe, where we're taking you through all the cues you need to watch out for before the start of D Street. And now Darshita is joining us with all the stocks that remain in focus in today's trading session. Darshita, take it away.
Right, here are some stocks that are expected to buzz in trade on the back of fresh order wins. And starting off with Bharat Forge, the company has secured a 425 crore rupee order from the Ministry of Defence to supply the gas turbine generators for the Indian Navy, which further strengthen its defence business. Another defence name expected to remain in focus is Goodluck India. So its arm Goodluck Defence and Aerospace has bagged an order worth 255 crore rupee for the supply of 155mm long-range empty shells, which highlights the strong momentum in the sector. Now moving on to the infrastructure space, RVNL has received a letter of acceptance worth nearly 2,977 crore from NMDC for setting up a 10 million ton buffer stockpile and blending yard at Visakhapatnam, which provides a significant boost to its order book. Meanwhile, Texemco Rail and Engineering has won a 253 crore rupee order from JSW South Rail Logistics for the manufacturing and supply of the rail wagons. And finally, Kirloskar Oil Engines has secured an order from Hypernext for 192 megawatts of power generation capacity for AI-enabled data centers, tapping into the growing demand of digital infrastructure.
All right, thanks so much, Darshita, for that. But let's move on to Rabinder also, who's joining us with all the stocks in news. Rabinder, take us through your list that you're picking out for the stocks that will be moving in trade today.
Yes, on the back of acquisition, Sun Pharma can be in focus, where company to acquire Innovacare Life Science for 271 crore in all cash deal, and the acquisition will strengthen Sun Pharma's nutraceutical portfolio. So back of this major acquisition, keep an eye on Sun Pharma. Apart from this, Voltas can be in focus, where Voltas has crosses 1 million AC sales milestone in FY 26-27. So back of this milestone, Voltas can react positively. Chennai Petroleum Corporation can be in focus, where company has granted Navratna status by Government of India. Navratna status enhance financial and operational autonomy for the company, and this will allow faster approval for the investment, JVs, acquisitions and expansion project without seeking repeated government approval. So back of this, Chennai Petroleum can be in focus. Garden Ridge Shipbuilders and Engineering too can be in focus, where company has received Navratna status from the Department of Public Enterprise under the Ministry of Finance. Keep an eye on Som Distilleries and Breweries, where company's application for renewal of the excise license for the Bhopal plant for FY 27 has been rejected by the Excise Department. So back of this, Som Distilleries can react negatively. From the pharma space, Aurobindo Pharma can be in focus, where US FDA has completed a pre-approval inspection by PAI at Iguya Sterlis Private Limited with 5 observation. Vikram Solar can be in focus, where NCLT Kolkata bench has admitted an insolvency petition filed by the HTVR Steels Private Limited against the company under Section 9 of the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, and Vikram Solar will appeal against the NCLT order admitting an insolvency petition by the Silva Steel, making a claim of approximately 9.5 crore. And lastly, KIMS can be in focus, where attracted marquee investor led by IFC, HDFC Life, SBI Mutual Fund, Kotak, ICICI Prudential and Nippon India. So back of this, KIMS can be in focus.
All right, Rabinder, thank you so much for joining us with all those stocks and news. But let's move on to another counter that will be in focus, IRDAI, and a move aimed at strengthening oversight of the sales practices. IRDAI has proposed mandatory tagging of every policy sold through an intermediary to the individual responsible for the sale. My colleague Anurag is joining us with more details on this story.
Insurance regulator IRD has proposed major overhaul in insurance intermediaries regulation as per the new consultation paper. So going ahead, banks and corporate agents to appoint a specified person in every branch and every insurance policy sale to be linked to an individual salesperson. So there were complaints about mis-selling through banca channel, but now every mis-selling complaint can be linked to the specified individual salesperson. Other than that, large brokers and intermediaries may have to publicly disclose the commission also, which has been proposed under the new intermediary regulation, which is proposed by regulator. Disclosure of profits, related party transaction and dividend payout also proposed by the regulator. The important one, that specified salesperson, so mis-selling complaint can be traced to the actual seller. This is the main purpose, because regulator want transparency and accountability by the intermediary channel. So this is the proposal, consultation paper, and after consultation with all the stakeholders, new guidelines will be issued by the regulator IRDAI.
All right, moving on then. Now, one of the most closely watched AGMs in corporate India saw RIL Chairman and Managing Director Mukesh Ambani take stage to share the road ahead for the conglomerate. On expected lines, the details of the much-awaited Jio Platforms IPO were announced today as Ambani shared the DRHP for the IPO as been filed, and that the company is planning to issue 27 crore shares. He also said that he is optimistic that the IPO will unlock great value for Reliance shareholders and offer an attractive investment opportunity for others. AI and energy security were the other key focus areas in the AGM, with announcements made on plans of building India's sovereign AI backbone in Jamnagar. Talking at the event, Isha Ambani shared the roadmap for the retail business, with Reliance Consumer Products targeting 1 lakh crore revenue by FY30. So that's the roundup of what really transpired for the big Reliance AGM. But let's move on and talk about the draft papers for the IPO offering involving a fresh issue of 27 crore equity shares of Jio Platforms that has been filed with SEBI. Anurag Joshi is joining us with more details of this IPO.
Jio Platforms is likely to raise over $4 billion through an IPO. Jio Platforms filed its DRHP and is intending to issue 270 million new equity shares. Now, the company's valuation is around 12.4 lakh crore rupees. That's according to sources. And this issue of capital, the 270 million shares, that will be about 3% of Jio Platforms' total equity. Now, the total proceeds that Jio Platforms receives from the IPO will be used to repay the loans. And these are syndicated loans that have been taken from both international and domestic banks through external commercial borrowings. And that'll be about 27,500 crore rupees. And that proceeds will be used to repay those loans. Now, if we see the facilities, these loans are all term loans, and they have been raised from various international banks. And the total amount of those loans is more than 30,000 crores. So these loans will be paid either fully or partly. And also in terms of the issue structure, it is a completely fresh issue, so new issue of shares, and there is no OFS. The existing shareholders are not going to sell their shareholding. If we see the shareholding of Reliance, of Jio Platforms now, Reliance is the majority holder. It's got a 66.43% equity stake, whereas Jadoo Holding, which is a unit of Meta Platforms, it has an about 10% stake, and Google has 7.73% stake. Besides that, a clutch of private equity funds and sovereign wealth funds are owning stakes in Reliance. And this they are going to hold their stakes. So Reliance is raising new money through the IPO, and this announcement of the DRHP being filed, that was made by Mukesh Ambani at the Reliance AGM.
All right, so that's the detail of the Jio IPO that's on the anvil, and that's the DRHP has already been filed for that. But moving on then, Nuvama along with Motilal Oswal and MK have retained a buy on Reliance after its 2026 AGM, where the company has highlighted a distinct shift to execution. Let's get on board. My colleague Ashesha is joining us more on what the brokerages have to say about Reliance.
Well, yes, after the AGM, most brokerage houses have retained their buy stance in the target price, so there has been no major upgrade or downgrade when it comes to the target price. But let's take a look at what brokerage houses have to say on this. Nuvama says Reliance's AGM this time around highlighted a shift to execution, especially with respect to their green energy business. So they said that Reliance's new energy business will start contributing meaningfully from FY27, which is likely to be a big positive. Solar module and cell plants have become operational, and they've also spoken about green chemicals, which continue to remain on track. So all focus this time around was a new energy business venture that they've entered into over a couple of years back. As far as advanced manufacturing systems is concerned, we did have some commentary on that. The management said that advanced manufacturing platforms and export platforms is likely to boost retail sales going forward. Premium valuations for Jio are likely, but Reliance shareholders' gains might be limited on account of holding company discounts. So that is one factor to watch out for when it comes to Jio's IPO. Meanwhile, Motilal Oswal has also reiterated its buy stance on the stock. They expect Reliance Jio to be the biggest driver of growth, and perhaps it could aid 38% EBITDA CAGR over the next 2 years, and they are building in 9 to 10% of Reliance's consolidated EBITDA growth over the next few years. We also have MK. They've also retained their buy stance. 1680 is their target price. They are saying O2C business will transform into high-value chemicals material platform, so that is likely to be a positive, and consumer revenue is expected to jump 4 times by FY30. Remember, 1 lakh crore is the target that they've given for Reliance Retail's revenue by FY30, which is a 4 times growth. So yes, brokerage houses believe that we are seeing some bit of transformation, especially when it comes to the new energy business. Reliance Jio IPO will be another factor that you need to watch out for, but most brokerage houses have not changed their target price after the AGM.
All right, thanks so much, Ashesha, for that. A buy call has been retained and no major changes in the target price as far as Reliance is concerned by the brokerages. But with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Market Cafe. I'll take your leave. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't go anywhere. The market is coming up next.